Hi, it's Tiro here with Running.COACH. I'm really excited here today with 3 of the newest, fastest shoes, marathon racing shoes on the market, carbon fiber plated racing shoes. We're going to run some tests with our friends at Medbase and try to find out what all the hype is surrounding this carbon fiber plated trend in marathon racing shoes. So unless you've been hiding under a rock, you've undoubtedly heard of all of these shoes coming out. It started with the Nike, and now finally all the other brands have started to release their own sort of carbon fiber racing shoes. So what we have here today is 3 different shoes: the Brooks Hyperion Elite, the Nike Air Zoom Alphafly Next Percent, the newest version of theirs, and then the Hoka Onone Carbon X SPE. Before I dive into everything that we're going to do on the tests, I want to just quickly explain why we're testing these shoes and jump into a little bit of the specs on each of them. So, of course, they're all similar in that they have a carbon fiber plate and they're made for marathon or distance racing. The Hoka Onone Carbon X, this is the shoe that Jim Walmsley ran the 50K or 50-mile world record in. It's a lot of guys and girls are running really fast in this shoe right now. One of the first carbon shoes to come out onto the market other than Nike, and this SPE is their newest version of that. Some specs on this. This is the standard size weighs 246 grams. The stack height in the heel is 35, and in the forefoot 30. Just go a 5mm drop. It has 2 different types of foam. What Hoka is calling this Pro Fly X foam, a softer, cushy foam first, then the carbon fiber plate goes across the whole plate, and then underneath that there's a harder foam on the bottom. Hoka's whole deal is that you'll get a better energy return from the soft foam, and the hard foam maybe gives you more durability. Then we've also got the Brooks Hyperion Elite. This Brooks was also one of the first brands to get their carbon fiber racing shoe out on the market. This shoe is lighter than the rest of them that we're going to be testing. The standard size weighs 195.6 grams, and that's because it has a slightly different foam. Brooks is calling it the DNA Zero EVA foam. It's a little bit stiffer, but like the other 2, it still has a carbon fiber plate going across the whole shoe. It also has a little bit smaller stack height, but still a large stack height. The heel of this one comes in at 33mm, and then the forefoot 25mm, so an 8mm drop. Then we've got here the infamous Nike Alphafly. This is the shoe that Kipchoge ran the sub 2-hour marathon in. It's a really a beast of a shoe. It's the newest iteration of the Nike Vaporfly, which you've undoubtedly seen in races. The first was the 4% and then the Next Percent, and this is the newest version. It has a stack height in the heel of 39mm, just barely under the World Athletics standard, and then in the forefoot of 35, so 4mm drop. One carbon fiber plate that goes across through the whole midsole. The upper is made out of this atom knit material, and then the big difference between this one and the previous iterations of this shoe is on the midsole you have this Air Zoom pocket here. Nike is claiming that it gives you more rebound and should make you run faster. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take all these shoes and go to Medbase, and we will run 3 different paces. I've got it listed here. 3 different paces for a set amount of time, changing shoes each time and resting. We also are going to be running with this Nike Pegasus as a control, just to see how these shoes compare to each other, but also to a normal daily trainer. So how we'll have it set up is 3 sets, like I said. Set 1 is at marathon pace. It'll be me that's doing this run, and for me, marathon pace is around 3:20 per kilometer. Then set 2, half marathon pace, which is around 3:10 per kilometer, and then about 10K pace, which is around 3 minutes per kilometer. in between each of the sets, 60 minutes rest. And as you may be able to see, I have written here, we're going to be doing it in different order each time. So 6 minutes on, so the first set will be Pegasus, Hoka, Brooks, Alphafly. Second set is Alphafly, Brooks, Hoka, Pegasus, and then the third set will be Hoka, Alphafly, Pegasus, Brooks. The reason we'll do this is just to make sure that no shoe gets a special benefit for going first or third or last or whatever it may be. We'll also be doing a 10-minute warm-up before each of these sets. So hopefully we can get some good data and we'll be able to see what the best one is. We will be measuring with an oxygen mask to see how much oxygen comes in, and then also heart rate. And afterwards we'll analyze the data and see what happens.
Hey, so it's Tiro here with Running Coach. We're here at Medbase in Zurich, going to do some shoe tests today to find out what the best marathon shoe is. Let's do it. Alright, so an hour and 4 minutes of hard running. It's harder than I thought. Let's take a look at the data and we'll get back to you with the results.
Alright, so we're back from our test and we have the data and results. And first, before I jump into all of the data, I want to just quickly say that this is completely unbiased opinion. None of these companies are paying me to say anything is better or worse. So I'm just trying to present the facts as clearly as possible. And from the data, there was one thing that we could clearly see, and that was that this one, the Alphafly, is better than these other ones. It's pretty significantly leaps and bounds beyond the others. There's nothing really wrong with these, but we're not near what this one is doing. So I think the best way to look at the data actually is through these graphical representations. I have some written down behind me, but I'm going to pull it up big on your screen, and in the details of this video we'll also link to a complete description of all of the data that we got. But if you look at this first graph, you see that on the y-axis you have O2 in liters per minute, and then the x-axis is just each of the shoes at each different paces. So if you remember, we did 3:20 pace in all of the shoes, 3:10 pace in all of the shoes, and 3-minute pace in all of the shoes. One thing you see immediately consistently across all of the paces is that the Alphafly is taking less oxygen per minute, or less liters of oxygen per minute than the other three shoes. This is a little bit surprising. I did kind of think from the beginning that the Alphafly would be a little bit better, but what's really surprising to me is that the significance. It's at 3:20, you can see it's only 3.83 liters per minute, while the others are 4.12 or 4.15. 3:10 is still a significant difference, a little bit closer, 404 compared to 4:25 and 4:12, 4:16. And then at 3 minutes, 4.15, which is actually comparable to the others at 3 minutes and 20 seconds per kilometer. So we have another graph here which puts the Alphafly at 3 minutes next to the others at 3:20, where you can see it's very clear 20 seconds per kilometer difference in speed, and we're using the same amount of oxygen or similar amount of oxygen than the other shoes. This does not, of course, does not mean you're going to run 20 seconds per kilometer faster in a 10K or a marathon. That would be crazy. But it is enough data to clearly say that this Alphafly is a faster shoe than the others. Another nice way to look at it is through this chart we have here. You can see we have each of the paces, 3:20, 3:10, 3 minutes, which is, as a reminder, is marathon pace, half marathon pace, or 10K pace for me. There's 3 different numbers you see here. The first is the average amount of oxygen used during that pace. The second is the standard deviation. So we're measuring the oxygen throughout the entirety of the test, and there's slight differences throughout. And then the third is the percentage difference between that shoe and the Alphafly. So you can see at 3:20, the shoes range between 7.6 and 8.4% more oxygen in liters per minute than the Alphafly. At 3:10, shoes range between 2% and 5% more oxygen used than the Alphafly. And then at 3 minute pace, it was between 3.5% and 6.4% more oxygen used than the Alphafly. So one thing that's important with all the data that came from this test is just to note that it's not a perfectly designed test. It was just one runner that did it. So there's so much differences, biological difference, running mechanic differences, that will change the benefit you receive or don't receive when running in any one of these shoes. It matters how you run, how much you weigh, how fast you can run. But it is clear through the data, we can see that you're probably going to run faster in this Alphafly. How much is up in the air. Certainly, it wouldn't be fair to say that you'll run 20 seconds faster in the Alphafly than the other 2 shoes, just because I used the same amount of oxygen at 3 minute pace versus 3:20 pace in these other shoes. So whether you're 8% faster, 2% faster, or 3% faster, we really can't say with the data that we have. What is pretty clear from everything we gathered is that this shoe here, the Alphafly, is the fastest of these ones we tested. Like I said before, I'm going to link into the description of this video all of the data that we collected at Medbase, and hopefully all of this is helpful for you, and you can use it to help you run faster.